Morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com, and it is Friday, and Friday is one of the most important days of the week for me because usually I'm pretty wiped out by today, and I'm ready for the weekend. And this week was extra stressful for me because there was a lot of these developments that I've been warning you about and telling you about. We took a big step this week in those things happening, which always gets me nervous because I know what's going to happen, Jason. I know that this is going to put a lot of stress and a lot of pain on a lot of people, and you know, I want to help as many people as possible. I think we want to help as many people as possible. I guess if there's a silver lining to this. You know, on the half-empty cup of Joe, we talk about the silver lining of COVID and all these mandates was it woke a lot of people up, right? All of a sudden, we had parents going to school board meetings and local elections. People have realized, wait a minute, those things are actually important, and that I think when we go through these crises, and especially the next one that's getting ready to happen here, we always end up with a lot more people figuring out, hey, this wasn't what it seemed. And we always end up with more customers. We end up with more listeners, right? You know, I go back to like the housing crisis and the financial crisis. We picked up thousands of new listeners and customers. And I think we're going to get them again. Unfortunately, it still leaves millions and millions of people that haven't figured it out yet.
That's right, Joe. That's why we're on the radio, and you bought the radio station, so now we're doing extra hours of radio to talk more about even the non-gold and market side of things. And you get to say stuff like, I'm looking at now, Michael Burry, the Big Short. He says, well, every rally in the market from here on out is a trap. There is no rallies to be buying into. There is no buying the dip. It's going to continue to go lower. These are the things people need to know.
Yeah, and I'm going to give out my son's number again. All the things you do that aren't gold and silver related, your stocks, insurance, tax stuff. And boy, tax stuff is going to be really important in the future. When on the other side of this, taxes are going to be a lot higher, believe me. So here's Joey's number again, 602-909-9048 for all your other paper investments. The key to this, Jason, is going to be how much of your wealth are you going to get protected? Because I think Burry's right on. Any rally is just a way to sell out because this market's going to head significantly lower. We have Jay Powell talking. Listen, he has dropped some big bombshells today, and we're going to talk about this when we get back. But, Jason, a major announcement from Jay Powell today about the central bank digital currency. I mean, we already knew it was coming, right? But Jay Powell essentially letting everybody who wanted to pay attention to it that if the United States wants any chance at retaining its reserve currency status, we're going to have to go digital. That's the newest now. So here you go, right? They're getting us ready. This is one of the steps. Hey, when the crash happens and it gets ugly, the dollar status already in question. You know, we talked yesterday, China selling, Japan selling. Everyone wants, investors, Wall Street investors, they're buying treasuries because they're scared. But these other countries are dropping dollars like flies.
That's right. That's right, Joe. And really, I mean, we already live in a world where 97 to 98% of all of our money is digital anyways. There's only like 2% of the money is cash. And so I think the problem is, Joe, they got to figure out how to transfer all the remaining cash in the industries that use cash. I mean, for example, my wife took a trip with her some of her aunt and her mom to Blackhawk, and where they do a little gambling, and they do a lot of cash there. So it's like so those systems have to be put into place to where they can absorb the cash out of it, and they're doing it, Joe. You wouldn't believe what's gone on since coronavirus in that industry, man. How they're changing to an all digital, no employee type situation. And that's it, Joe. We're already digital. They're just trying to figure out that last 2%. How do you get rid of that last 2%, right?
Yeah, and again, the realities are it gives the ability to again control everything, and we're going to see that. I think we're going to see this happen. His announcement today just means it's going to be quicker than that. He also talked about inflation today. Kind of funny how he didn't sound, that hawkish on his little when we raised the rates 0.75 of a point on Wednesday. Today, because he was testifying in front of Congress, and today, much more blunt. I don't believe him, but I'm going to tell you what he said, so people can kind of know what at least for right now the Fed is saying about inflation, because it's going to be really important. I just want everyone to know, as you already know, minimum payments on credit cards are going to skyrocket. Mortgage rates are going to skyrocket. Buying a car, financing a car is going to skyrocket. Anything doing with debt is going to be costing a whole lot more if Jay Powell's telling the truth. We got that and so much more coming up next. 800-951-0592. Gold's down 6, 1844. Obviously a big day in the gold markets. Yesterday, a little bit of profit taking here. It's like quadruple witching on Wall Street today. One thing that's kind of interesting, crude oil is down $6, all profit taking. They're just taking some. Today is profit taking day, and Wall Street making repositioning portfolios for lack of a better term. I've got a sale today. I got it online already. I got offered an opportunity. This is from not one of our primary wholesalers, but a wholesaler. People want our business. It's always good. I've got an opportunity, Jason. They offered us up $120 gold pieces. Gold prices. So remember, yesterday we were $21.75. Today we're $21.95. Is gold? I know it's down 6 right now, but gold was up $30-40 yesterday. I've got 120s available for $21.50, $2,150. That's great value right now at 800-951-0592. And again, Jay Powell was out today, and he was speaking at one of these conferences, and said that he was the Federal Reserve, and I'll just give you some quotes here, acutely focused on returning inflation to its 2% objective. My colleagues and I are determined on meeting our dual mandate, and that also depends on maintaining financial stability. So on the one hand, he said, listen, we're going back to 2% inflation. But then he said, but we got this, financial stability thing, so we're only going to fight it till we break it, is essentially what Jay Powell was saying today.
Wow, Joel. Here's the thing about Jay Powell and the Fed in the last couple of years. Even though it's hard to get a good beat on what they're actually going to do as far as the entirety of what they're going to do, Joe. But when they say they're going to do something recently, they actually do it. When they say they're going to print, they printed. When they said they were going to stop printing, they stopped printing. When they said they're going to sell at the balance sheet, they did. When they said they were going to raise the rates, they did. So there is one thing, at least when they say they're going to do something, they've been doing it recently, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. I just had someone reach out, a listener reach out. Do we still think crude's going to be 130 by the end of summer? Yes. Yeah, I hope it's not higher than that. But you know, like you said, Jay Powell, hey, we're fighting inflation. We're determined. Oh, wait, but we got this financial stability thing. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. So let's get to the heart, though, of really the message that he made loud and clear today about the dollar, the international role of the dollar, and obviously if the United States reserve currency status starts to wane, that would be horrific. Then we're talking something, I don't even want my mind to even go there. I know that the world is going to use dollars less and less to buy things, but we still need a lot of the world to use dollars. Otherwise, it's going to be a horrible problem. And already I can see this multifaceted argument that they're going to use to try to convince us we need this digital currency. He said, looking forward, rapid changes are taking place in the global monetary system. Okay, well, of course, what is he talking about? Is he talking about Japan? Is he talking about Europe? Is he talking about the dollar? Is he talking about the liquidity problems? Probably all of them. That may affect the international role of the dollar in the future. So I'll give him credit right there, Jason. At least he's being honest. He's warning us, hey, by the way, we may have a problem here with the dollar, right? I mean, that first sentence, he's essentially saying, hey, we may have a problem here. And he uses the word rapid changes.
Well, I see rapid changes coming too, Joe. We've talked about it, that it starts kind of slow, and then it speeds up really fast. And as you're reading this information off, I'll have to apologize. I'm looking at some of this because I don't do tweeting. I don't get Michael Burry's tweets, so I have somebody who's reading it off. Man, what Michael Burry is saying, Joe, for the markets is, wow, devastating. He says it will go at least 15%. The S&P 500 will be 15% lower than its low in 2020, the COVID low, most likely around 1862. Can you imagine if the S&P goes down to 1862? And it's going there, isn't it?
So the Dow COVID low, for people that want to correlate to the Dow, we're talking about 19,000. High 18s. So what Michael Burry, by the way, who's Michael Burry? For those of you that don't know, Michael Burry, the Big Short, he was the one who was warning about all of that, those derivatives in these houses in the housing markets where nobody was living in them and all of that. He's been pretty good because he called the rally afterwards as well, and now he's saying, get ready. And again, I think Jason and I, we're already there. I'm hoping that's as low as it goes. I'll just say that right now. I'm hope that's as low as it goes. We'll wait and see. And I think it really ties in to Jay Powell here, because I think Jay Powell knows as well. So listen to what he says after that. So he's already saying, hey, listen, we got rapid changes. The dollar's role here may be in trouble. Most major economies already have or are in the process of developing instant 24/7 payments. Okay, This is your blockchain. This is your digital currency. Okay, so obviously the first sentence, most major economies already. Okay, he's talking about China. Right, China's already got it, using it, and it's expanding more and more inside of China. Says everybody else is developing it. So he's letting us know, hey, we're developing it. As the Fed's white paper on this topic notes, and by the way, you can go to their website, you can read the paper for yourself. It's been up there. A United States central bank digital currency could also potentially help maintain the dollar's international standing.
Well, I guess there's a way of that's one way of looking at it, right, Joe? Yeah. Well, hey, we can control what you can or can't spend, and with a digital currency, we can control what countries can or can't spend, right? We think about ourselves, Joe, but what about these nations trading back and forth? You know, as soon as the Russian war started, well, sanctioned Russia. You know, they can with a digital currency, it gets even worse.
Boy, I'm going to tell you right now. Believe me, and I know you people are listening, well, that doesn't sound that bad. This is talk you never hear of. Because he's essentially saying, listen, the dollar's we're under duress here. And listen, I promise you this, we are going to lose some. The question is how much, right? The more we lose, the worse, what Michael Burry's talking about, the worse it gets. And Jay Powell's coming out and even admits, even if we have it, we're still going to have issues. Because what does he say? He says it's going to potentially help maintain. Which is him saying, listen, we're still going to lose. We're going to need to do this. And he goes on from there. And this is something, this is how devious these guys really are. The Federal Reserve recently wrapped up a 4-month-long consultation with the public about a digital dollar. And most of you are probably going, what? Public? He didn't consult with us. That's not who he's talking about. He was talking about the banks, the big guys on Wall Street. That's who they consulted with, right? They consulted with J.B. Diamond, right, and J.P. Morgan and Bank of America and Goldman, right? They probably threw a bone out to Bezos and Musk and a few others of billionaires out there. And he acknowledges, hey, we've wrapped that part up. And he says right now, we're in the process of considering the feedback we've been given. We will be thinking not just about the current state of the world, but also how global financial systems may evolve. I threw may in. He did not say that. Also how the global financial system evolves over the next 5 to 10 years. So now, at least for me, Jason, Jay Powell just put a time on it. Right?
Yeah.
5 years.
5 years.
Well, he says 5 to 10, but 5.
Well, that lines up with Agenda 2030, doesn't it?
Boy. Bingo. Right in that time. Big shock there. And again, this is why I said these guys have it all planned out. Remember, it was like a year ago, they were still denying we were even doing it. So then he goes on. The United States is a step behind, with 10 countries already having launched their own versions, another 15 countries in pilot stages, 105 countries representing over 95% of global GDP are exploring central bank digital currencies. In May of 2020, it was reported that only 35 countries were considering. That's a load of crap, right? We've been telling you, Jason and I, we've been talking about this digital money since Jason? Since you started.
I was talking about digital currencies before I even joined up with Patriot Trading Group. I would go to some of these local coin clubs because I did collectible coins, and I would tell some of these guys how we're going to have this digital money, and they laughed at me. People were just laughing at me in I guess, 2016, 2017. It's like, this is coming our way. I said, the ultimate enslavement of society. We're already enslaved. Now we're really going to be enslaved. Everything we do is going to be looked at, scrutinized, and controlled. And, Joe, it's crazy because if you don't think it's coming, just look at this for a minute. When you go to get a car loan or a mortgage, what's the first thing they do? They get your credit score, a test of how valuable you are and how the bank should look at you. Why would you think it'd be any different about now that they can look at everything you do, cameras everywhere, they can follow you everywhere you go with your cell phone? You're going to have this ESG score or something else that they're going to call it that's maybe sounds prettier, and then your digital money is going to be dictated based off this score you've got. They already do it with, here's the thing, you and your bank should be able to determine the risk in the loan without a credit score. But now the credit score, Joe, do you think of anybody that would not use a credit score when it comes to a loan? What happened to the days where It's a Wonderful Life? Remember, the building a loan, and you knew your neighbors, and you did loans based off the trust of the people around you that you knew. Well, it doesn't exist anymore. It's all about a score, right, Joe? And it's here. It's coming.
And I think the score is going to change. There's a credit score. There's going to be an ESG score. Speaking of the power of digital, I'm going to tell you what the abilities of the government are going to be next. This is coming out of China to give you an idea of what we got to look forward to. 800-951-0592, gold's down 3, 1846, 1847, $20 gold, big sale today. This is, really going back probably $30, $40 in gold to go, $21.50 on $20 gold pieces today at 800-951-0592. So Jay Powell today at his little conference lets everybody know the United States is much farther along on digital currency than we thought. Hey, we've already wrapped up our feedback. We've gotten our feedback, and we're getting ready to go. All but it's done, right? We're doing it, and he's saying, "Hey, we're going to have to do it because the dollar is going. Its role in the global monetary system is going to come under pressure," which, of course, correlates exactly to what Michael Burry was warning about today. There's going to be significant pressures because they're going to raise rates until we enter that double Great Depression that Jason and I keep warning about. Neil Kashkari's out now. Minneapolis Fed already throwing his weight behind. I'm ready for another 75 points at the next meeting. Jason, I think we'll be lucky if it's only 75 points in the next meeting.
Yeah, it's great to do a show like this. I have a basic understanding of this stuff. Joe has more of an understanding than I do. So I like when I'm able to bounce and listen to the informations off of other people and how they're seeing things. So I got Joe to listen to, and of course everybody that listens to KHNC has been listening to Joe and Eric before him for years. There's guys like Michael Burry out there, and then I got my guys I listen to. Joe has his guys, and it's great because I'm really good at grabbing, I think, if I have one thing that I'm good at, I think when I hear something that is very intelligent and well thought through, I grab it and I try to bring it onto the air. I just found the Michael Burry thing from a guy named Michael Cohen. It's a guy from Australia that I play clips from once in a while. And he's taken this tweet because Michael Burry, he'll come on Twitter, give you some information, and then he feels really uncomfortable staying on Twitter. He doesn't like Twitter, but he knows this is a way to get people some information. And then this last thing that he tweeted, he just canceled his account again. So this is like, here it is. This is the last thing you need to know. And he was comparing the 1970s inflation, and the markets were down for 25 years from 68 to 93, to what's happening now. And this is how he's getting his numbers. With the debt that we have now, Joe, we don't have to go to 14, 15, 16, 17% interest rates with the Fed to get the massive problems they had in the 70s. He's saying basically 25%. So let's just say 16% interest in the 70s when we had the inflative cycle. 4% is kind of like the hangman's noose of complete destruction. So he's saying there is some room to just keep pushing these rates, as Joe was just saying. Listen to what he says about the markets as far as how they react to some of these different crashes and how you can tell that the market's got a long way to go. The S&P bottomed 13% lower than the 2002 bottom of 2009. 17% lower than the 1998's LTCM crisis low of 2002.
Yeah, long-term capital. That's the long-term capital crisis.
It ended up the S&P ended up 10% lower than 1970's low of 1975. So 15% lower than the COVID low has to happen this time, which is between 1,800 and 2,300, depending on how you look at some of these. But basically, Joe, with the S&P at 3,600 right now, he's saying at least 15% lower than 2,300 and probably in the 1,800 range. And then he also says, hey, by the way, that's where it has to go. It doesn't have to stop there. He says that, hey, yeah, what they try to push past that 4% or even get near it.
You know, and again, that overshoot, that always happens. Well, I shouldn't say always. Most of the time, you always overshoot to the upside, overshoot to the downside. So to Burry's point, more than likely we could go lower than that. Yep. But probably bounce back into where that number, you know, that 1,800 number. So think about this. What he's essentially saying, Jason, is the paper assets, you know, the S&P is already down, 22, 23%. And he's saying, listen, there's going to be another 50% coming.
Yes.
Essentially. Give or take 40, 50% more pain coming. And honestly, that's where I sit. This is where I've sat. The news this week gave me that horrible, you know, that horrible pit in the stomach where, oh man,
looks familiar.
This is coming. I hope
it looks familiar, doesn't it, Joe? It looks familiar, doesn't it?
Yep. Too many of these things, and so I want you to know the digital currency. I'm going to give you an example of the power that they'll have. In Zhengzhou. So for those of you who know that, Zhengzhou, it's probably the third most important city in all of China, behind Beijing and Shanghai. About 14 million people. Think how big China is compared to 14 million people live there. On June 14th, so this is 3 days ago, Chinese citizens in that city had a red health code alert show up on their phones, which prevented these citizens from going anywhere, using any public transportation, barred from all public places, public toilets, shops, train stations, mandatory quarantine in centralized isolation centers. So you get this little alert on the phone, you go here, but it went further than that. These citizens are amongst tens of thousands of Chinese citizens who have now had their bank deposits frozen and are trying to fight to recover their savings. And Jason, I think you put this out there a couple of months ago. China's been freezing people's bank accounts for months.
Yeah. They have no access to their money. You know, we have cryptocurrency exchanges now freezing their assets. You know, it seems like a small thing. Cryptocurrency is not as big as global markets and governments, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These are symptoms. You know when you're getting sick and you're like, oh, I think something's coming on, and then you wake up the next day and there it is, right? That's what we're talking about. You know, you can't freeze people's assets. You can't take away their ability to use their funds unless something bad is happening. And Joe, something bad is happening, right?
This is, and again, just these. The example of the power, because when you go all digital, right, what are you left with? Right, unless you've got something to barter with, if the government says you don't have access, your ability to live is gone. This is too much power. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Gold still down 3 here, 1847. $20 gold on sale today, $45 off. That's big in gold terms. 2,150, as Jay Powell has said that in order to help the dollar maintain its international standing, we are going to have a central bank digital currency. So there you go. And of course the power that goes along with it. And any time you see when the bankers make these types of changes, Jason, that this is a loss of freedoms, period, end of discussion. It's everything from cradle to grave essentially will be tracked now by the Federal Reserve. Everything will be tracked. And in your October call for the things to get really crazy, I think it's going to be. I think you know we're in 222. Jason has the 222, and we're still in the year of 222. So I haven't put the heat on the half empty cup of Joe with that, but Joe's made the call of October as being kind of where things really get serious. Well, think about it. So. When Michael Burry talked about, hey, you only need 25% of the interest rate hikes that we had in the 70s, that's because of the $31 trillion in debt. Just like Joe said earlier in the show that, hey, the interest rates on car loans and on home loans and everything, credit cards is going to be ridiculous. Well, October, Joe, that's going to be right, and we're going to be between 2.5% and 3.5% at least on those interest rates, right to that 4% breaking point. That could happen in October. Right there. Let me add one more thing. Joe Biden was asked, hey, if China goes into Taiwan, are you going to use military action to stop it? This is a question he was asked. The guy that doesn't seem to answer questions very well or very, he's kind of dopey. He said yes. He just said flatly, yes. And we know that October is when the waters are calm near Taiwan, and that would be the time that China would want to start sending troops in. That's crazy, Joe. It seems that would be their emergency to bring in economic chaos when they get close to that 4% that Michael Burry says breaks everything. It's funny you just said that, because the State Department was out today, it may have been yesterday, saying that if China invades Taiwan, that'll be more like a Ukraine response. So very, very interesting, probably trying to backpedal the Biden stuff. But Jason's right. Listen, we're at where are we now? 1.5. I expect another 3 quarters. It could be a full point at the next one. So that's going to, let's say 2.25. Then we'll probably be by October right around that 3, potentially to 4. And again, at that point, what Burry is saying, it's depression. That's all it's going to take. You can't hit 4 because 4 is Armageddon. So you can't. He said basically said you really can't get too much past 4. But it's going to be economic chaos, anyways. And boy, do they're going to have the thing in the news cycle that we talked about. They're going to have. Hey, Taiwan will be the biggest new emergency, and you're gonna, remember we were talking about that new Cuban Missile Crisis situation that would make the whole world shake. That would be ships swimming around the Taiwan, Joe. Can you imagine? We have U.S. warships and Chinese warships floating around Taiwan, right? That would be it. That would be the emergency to blame it on. Yeah, well, and of course China just launched their new aircraft carrier. But again, even without that, that we'll see, and I think it'll depend on how scared we are about how much ground the dollar is going to lose globally. I think if our government and our bankers fear that we're going to lose a lot more than I'm hoping we're going to lose, then I absolutely expect war. That's all I'm saying, because that's usually what they do in these types of situations. Let's see what happens on that front. On the crypto side, more problems now. It's Three Arrows Capital. They are in the process. Well, they're imploding here. They finally made a comment to the Wall Street Journal. We have always been believer in crypto. We still are. We're in the process of communicating with relevant parties and fully committed to working this out. Well, here's the problem. Anyone who's got their money there, you can't take it out. The hedge fund had $3 billion under management. It was Three Arrows was part of a large group that had a $1 billion token sale for Luna, which that's another one that went to the wayside. So it looks like we've got another crypto implosion happening. Jeff Gunloch was out, I want to say the other day, he thinks Bitcoin is headed to 10,000, Jason.
Yeah, well, I mean, it had an all-time high of 64,000 in 2020. It really hasn't recovered from that. I don't see 64,000 in a while. And I know it can bounce and go violently upwards like it goes violently downwards. But yeah, Joe, it's priced as an equity, and if stocks are going to continue to collapse, and it would just say I was a guy that was into all kinds of stocks and equities. Well, if things are going down and I need to sell, I'm going to sell my crypto first. I'm going to trust my stocks more. Crypto's the new thing, so you always get rid of the new thing.
Yeah, that's right. And again, everyone knows my thoughts on crypto. I think it's a glorious idea. Unfortunately, going to be completely corrupted by central bank digital currencies. But nonetheless, to Jason's point, think about this. Dow was almost at 37,000. Crypto was at 66. Dow's heading, right? Dow's at 29,000. Crypto's falling. Burry says, listen, the Dow's going down a lot more. So 10,000, heck, it could even go all the way back to 5 before it's done, because it seems like it's in lockstep with stocks, which is not what it's supposed to be. But this is what they do. Germany. Man, the show went by too fast. Huge announcement out of Germany today. Major warnings on energy. Major warning on widespread bankruptcies. We'll cover that really fast. 800-951-0592. $20 gold, $21.50 today. We'll be back for the final segment of the week. 800-951-0592. Please prepare. You guys, here, I'll just give it to you. The head of Germany's regulatory office for electricity, gas, telecom, postal, and rail service said that a significant gas shortage is going to send shockwaves throughout the country, saying that banks are going to have to prepare for installment loans to businesses that have a chance to survive, and prepare for ailing companies to fall into total insolvency. Also, that Germany may have to change the laws that will allow landlords. Right now, Germany has a law where landlords have to provide heat to 68 degrees, okay, in the wintertime. He says that Germany will most likely have to change the laws to allow the landlords to lower that number. So could you imagine in the middle of winter in Germany and you could only set your thermostat to, say, 60 degrees? This is what he says is coming, Jason.
Yeah, that's not good. But I'll say this. I'm not a big fan of government and overreaching rules. I think the market and people should make their own decisions. But if there's a shortage of essentials like energy, what do you do, Joe? I mean, what do you do? Because you can shut off one city or something, or everybody has to just have a lower standard to make it stretch. There's only so much of it, right, Joe? If there's only so much of it, how do you get everybody in a place where they can survive, I guess, is what that number tells me.
Yeah, listen, the rolling blackouts continuing in Australia. Australia is telling all of its populations, don't turn your lights on. This is how bad things are getting and going to get. Like I said, the worst part of this wave is still coming. I know too many people don't believe that. This is just the facts. Germany right now is already begging its citizens to use as little power as possible. Jason, they just don't have enough energy.
Yeah, we're only halfway through 2022. I can't imagine what the back half of this year is going to be like. And then this year is going to set up 2023, I think, to be even worse, Joe. So this
yeah, and this is all about. Yeah, you're totally right, Jay. Listen, they're using up all the supply they've got to get through the summer. There's going to be nothing left for the winter at all.
Yeah, the back half of the year, we start thinking school back in session, and then you got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, when things get chillier and chillier and cooler on the northern hemisphere, Joe, which is where most people live in this world. I can't imagine what it's going to be like. We're talking about diesel. I mean, we touched on this for a couple of days in a row, but that DEF problem, I mean, I talking to more and more people. It's becoming a huge topic because, even if you don't use diesel is what brings you your gas for your car. I mean, gas prices are going to explode. July, August, what are the gas prices going to be?
6 weeks. 800-951-0592. The Dow is down again. It's, I guess a good day because it's only down 100 points. 29,830 right now. $20 gold, 2150. 800-951-0592.